Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Management Studies, SOMS, Diploma in Retailing, DIRIL. Semester I, BRL-102 Retail Marketing and Communication. Unit-2 Understanding Shoppers and Shoppers' Behavior, 2.0. Objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to describe retail activities, explain consumers' shopping behavior patterns, illustrate factors that influence consumer, shopper behavior. Explain the consumer decision-making processes. Identify situational variables which influence shopping behavior. 2.1 Introduction. Understanding consumers' shopping behavior such as why they buy, at what intervals, what are the levels of motivation to buy, how to entice a consumer. An answer to such questions emerges from study of consumer behavior. The growth of organized retailing across lifestyle, food, groceries, furniture, QSR, jewelry and other segments etc. are offered through various formats like convenience stores, hypermarkets, discount stores, supermarkets, small stores, factory outlets, franchise-led business and malls. Which of these formats are preferred and why? The distinct consumer behavioral segment offers a major challenge for not only retailers in India but elsewhere in the world too because of large spread of socio-culture across India. This consumer behavior covers four broad areas as under. Customer orientation, where the retailer studies consumer behavior and buying trends and fulfill those needs. Goal orientation, the retailer has clear goals and targets to achieve as per a given formulated strategy. Value-driven approach, the retailer makes a careful study of the value of the goods to be sold and its perception in the consumer mind. Price and quality play an important role here. Coordinated effort, every activity within the retail space is aligned to a goal to maximize efficiency in servicing the customer and deliver value. 2.2 Retail Value-Added Activities. To fulfill customer needs, retailers undertake various business activities which add value to the offerings in their store. Specifically, retail has diminished the distances and makes available products and services from all over the country and the world sometimes. Some of the major activities are given below. Breaking bulk. Breaking bulk is believed to derive from the French word retailer, meaning to cut a piece off. Breaking bulk actually adds value when large stock levels are moving to smaller locations and make products available through a retailer. This is a straight value add from the retailer side. Retailers also preserve stocks in quantities for their customer. Again, this is a value add from the retailers. Example being offering an apple at Kerala all the way from Kashmir and sending coconuts to Kashmir from Kerala. Holding stock, retailers also offer the service of holding stock for manufacturers. They maintain an inventory that allows for instant availability of the product to the consumers. The public distribution system, PDS, is good example of how essential commodities like sugar, kerosene etc. are stocked and sold to ration card holders in India. It helps to keep prices stable and enables the manufacturer to regulate production. Retailers to benefit by keeping small stock with an assurance of replenishment and can work within an assurance of and can work via budget for a month. Additional services, providing product guarantees, after-sales service and handling customer grievances are some of the services that add value to the product at the retail point. Retailers fulfill orders, promptly process, deliver and install products. Offering services like gift wrapping, free home delivery for products like electronic goods etc. greatly impress consumers and create loyalty. Salespeople are also employed to provide demonstration and additional information on the functionality and features, usage of the product being sold. Efficient customer service is essential to make the consumers feel comfortable and important. Retail customer behavior and role of services in retailing. Let us first understand the distinction between a customer and a shopper. A customer is someone who necessarily buys from the retailer. However, a shopper is someone who may or may not buy from the retailer and may be window shopper only. We can take the example of window shoppers who spend time in the retail outlets just looking at the products with or without any real intention for buying. In spite of the internet making inroads in the shift of shopping behavior, the majority of the customers still prefer to purchase through stores. Stores remain popular because of the following basic reasons. Why they prefer to buy from a retail store. 1. Need to touch and feel the product prior to buying. 2. It allows social interaction and the opportunity to compare brands at one. 3. It initiates impulse buying by the look and physical feel of the product, such as chocolates, snacks and magazines. 4. Customers also look for ambience and convenience in shopping. 5. Consumer money drives the economy, and retail is where consumers spend their money, such as in boutiques, restaurants, discount stores, and e-tailers. Consumer shopping behavior can be understood by analyzing factors such as demographic, psychological, or the lifestyle of the consumer. Retailers are required to have a better understanding of consumer benefits, their perceptions and attitudes, and how they influence the development of successful retail marketing strategies. Effective retailing requires an appreciation of the buying behavior of consumers. Retailers must understand their consumers better so that they can both respond to and anticipate their needs proactively. Some of the major criteria for the right approach to a customer's requirements are: creating the right environment. This is important as it is much harder to attract new customers than it is to retain old ones. It is a blend of product, quality and services. Most of the prominent retailers such as Shoppers Stop, Pantaloon, Future Group, Reliance Retail, Spencer Retail, Lifestyle Stores, More and a host of other emerging retailers now have loyalty programs for their regular consumers. Activity 1. Pick up any 3 retailers in your neighborhood and try to understand the loyalty program they offer to customers. 2.3. Consumers' shopping behavior patterns. Buying patterns refer to the why and how behind consumer purchase decisions. They are habits and routines that consumers establish through the products and services they buy. Buying patterns are defined by the frequency, timing, quantity, etc. of said purchases. These patterns are determined by factors such as where customer lives, where customer work, how much money customer make, what they enjoy and prefer, what their friends and family recommend, what their goals and motivations, customers, the price of the product or service they're interested in, any product displays, the necessity of the product or service, festivals, holidays, rituals, or celebrations, consumption needs. Predicting customer buying patterns. Customer buying patterns are based on many factors. Let's understand some of them. These types of purchases fall into 4 consumer behavior categories. 1. Routine or regular purchases, e.g. weekly grocery shopping. 2. Limited decision-making purchases, e.g. a new salon recommended by a friend. 3. Extensive decision-making purchases, e.g. a new car, TV, fridge. 4. Impulse purchases, e.g. an unplanned, sudden purchases based on impulse action. Marketers at companies in all these industries work to uncover and understand the buying patterns of their customers. Most buying patterns are established through the typical buyer journey, awareness, consideration, and decision. When a pattern is established, however, the buyer then no longer has to become aware of their problem and consider a solution, they simply repeat the decision stage over and over, thus creating the pattern. So, how can marketers and salespeople uncover the current buying patterns of their customers? The most straightforward way is to ask. Once you set a baseline of customer behavior and expectations, you can then start to predict their patterns and those of similar shoppers. Here are some questions to ask in a customer survey or focus group. Why did you first purchase, product or service? Who in your household decided to purchase, product or service? Does this person make all the buying decisions? Where do you go when looking for, product or service? How long does it take to decide to buy, product or service? Do you buy other, products or services? Why? What's your budget for, product or service? How far would you travel to buy, product or service? These questions help you understand the why and how behind your customer purchase decisions, thus uncovering their buying pattern as it relates to your product or service. The most important takeaway about buying patterns is that they're ever-changing. Not only do they differ between your customers and buyer personas, but they may also change as an individual's life changes. So above with Robert. Customer buying pattern examples. In the previous section, I outlined the 4 main types of consumer behavior. Below, I'll unpack an example of a customer buying pattern for each of the types of consumer behaviors. 1. Routine purchases. I mentioned above that routine purchases typically yield buying patterns. This is true because these patterns are the most prevalent and predictable. For example, let's say Betty goes grocery shopping every Monday morning after taking her kids to school. She buys many of the same items every week since her kids are young and prefer to repeat their favorite meals for dinner. Sometimes, she'll splurge on an extra dessert or fancy coffee, but for the most part, she sticks to the same list. One Monday, her kids' school is closed for maintenance. She has to take them to the grocery, vastly changing her grocery routine as her kids pull a variety of snacks and treats off the shelves. She decides to buy a few to placate her kids and treat them to a special day off. This is also an example of how a buying pattern can be altered based on who accompanies the decision maker. 2. Limited decision-making purchases. Limited decision-making purchases are typically rendered through a trusted recommendation by a friend or family member. Because of the recommendation, the decision maker doesn't consider it to be a tough decision or feel the need to do much research. This type of purchase can actually be the catalyst for an altered buying pattern. For example, let's say Georgia has gone to the same hair salon for 5 years. She's never disliked her services there, but when her friend mentions an amazing new salon that has opened down the street, Georgia is curious to try it. When she goes, she is so impressed with the service that she decides to make it her new routine salon, thus altering her buying pattern due to outside influence or recommendation. 3. Extensive decision-making purchases. Extensive decision-making purchases are usually those that are for expensive, seldomly made purchases. These may include a new car, computer, or even a home. Because of their ticket size, there's little room to establish a buying pattern between purchases. However, some consumers are loyal to certain brands or stores. For example, let's say Austin decides it's time for a new car. He and his family have always owned Fords, so when it comes time to shop for cars, he doesn't think twice about looking for a new Ford. While he's uncertain of what model he'll buy, sedan versus SUV, he knows for sure that he'll purchase a Ford vehicle, thus creating a buying pattern between his few and far between car purchases. 4. Impulse purchases. Impulse purchases are exactly how they sound, impulsive purchases made with little planning, research, or forethought. For this reason, buying patterns are hard to establish with these kinds of purchases. However, one consistent factor in impulse buying is convenience. Consumers often make impulsive purchases when they need something quickly or see something they think they need. The convenience factor of impulse purchases allows for buying patterns around location and proximity. For example, let's say Gio likes to add a little something extra to his takeout purchases when he orders on his food delivery app. He often changes where he gets food from, but he typically throws in an add-on, e.g. fries, a drink, or a cookie, when prompted before checkout. In this case, there's no buying pattern established in what Gio orders or where he orders from, but the app tracks his add-on purchases to analyze how often he makes impulse buys on the app. Then, they know to continue prompting those add-ons or perhaps increase the number of products listed. 2.4 Factors affecting consumer. Shoppers' decision-making process. 1. Psychological factors. 2. Social factors. 3. Cultural factors. 4. Personal factors. Consumer behavior is influenced by many strong factors. A marketer should try to understand the different factors that affect the consumer behavior. Figure 2.1. Here are 5 major factors that influence consumer behavior. Shoppers and shoppers' behavior. Psychological factors. Social factors. Cultural factors. Personal factors. Economic factors. 1. Psychological factors. Human psychology is a major determinant of consumer behavior. These factors are difficult to measure but are strong enough to influence a buying decision. Some of the important psychological factors are motivation. When a person is motivated enough, it influences the buying behavior of the person. A person has many needs such as social needs, basic needs, security needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. Out of all these needs, the basic needs and security needs take a position above all other needs. Hence, basic needs and security needs have the power to motivate a consumer to buy products and services. Perception. Consumer perception is a major factor that influences consumer behavior through perception process. When a customer sees any advertisements, promotions, customer reviews, social media feedback, etc., relating to a product showcased, they develop positive or negative impressions about the product. Hence, consumer perception becomes a great influence on the buying decision of consumers. Learning. When a person buys a product, she gets to learn something more about the product. Learning comes over a period of time through 31-32. Experience. A consumer's learning depends on skills and knowledge. While skill can be gained through practice, knowledge can be acquired only through experience. Learning of a product is a great influencing factor on building buying a pattern. Attitudes and beliefs. Consumers have certain attitudes and beliefs which influence the buying decisions of a consumer. Based on this attitude, the consumer behaves in a particular way towards a product. This attitude plays a significant role in defining the brand image of a product. Hence, marketers try hard to understand the attitude of a consumer to design their marketing campaigns. 2. Social factors. Humans are social beings and they live around many people who influence their buying behavior. Humans try to imitate other humans and also wish to be socially accepted in the society. Hence, their buying behavior is influenced by other people around them. These factors are considered as social factors. Some of the social factors are family. Family plays a significant role in shaping the buying behavior of a person. A person develops preferences from his childhood by watching family buy products and continues to buy the same products even when they grow up. Reference groups. A reference group is a group of people with whom a person associates himself. Generally, all the people in the reference group have common. Efference group have come buying behavior and influence each other. Roles and status. A person is influenced by the role that he holds in society. If a person is the role that he holds in society. If a person is in a high position, his buying behavior will be influenced largely by his status. A person who is a chief executive officer in a company will buy according to his status, while a staff or an employee of the same company will have a different buying pattern. 3. Cultural factors. A group of people is associated with a set of values and ideologies that belong to a particular community. When a person comes from a particular community, her behavior is highly influenced by the culture relating to that particular community. Some of the cultural factors are culture. Cultural factors have a strong influence on consumer buying behavior. Cultural factors include the basic values, needs, wants, preferences, perceptions, and behaviors that are observed and learned by a consumer from their near family members and other important people around them. Subculture. Within a cultural group, there exists many subcultures. These subcultural groups share the same set of beliefs and values. Subcultures can consist of people from different religions, castes, geographies and nationalities. These subcultures by themselves form a customer segment. Social class. India is divided into many socio-classes. SEC, socio-economic class, is defined as SECA, B and C. C being lower middle class, B means middle class and A means upper class. Customers are placed within these SEC classes based on their income earning capabilities. Their earning capacities define the spending power under each SECs. 4. Personal factors. Factors that are personal to the consumers influence their buying behavior. These personal factors differ from person to person, thereby producing different perceptions and consumer behavior. Some of the personal factors are age. Age is a major factor that influences buying behavior. The buying choices of youth differ from that of middle-aged people. Elderly people have a totally different buying behavior. Teenagers will be more interested in buying colorful clothes and beauty products. Middle-aged are focused on houses, property and vehicles for the family. Income. Income has the ability to influence the buying behavior of a person. Higher income gives higher purchasing power to consumers. When a consumer has higher disposable income, it gives more opportunity for the consumer to spend on luxurious products. Whereas low-income or middle-income group consumers spend most of their income on basic needs such as groceries and clothes. Occupation. Occupation of a consumer influences the buying behavior. A person tends to buy things that are appropriate to her profession. For example, a doctor would buy clothes according to this profession, while a professor will have different buying patterns. Lifestyle. Lifestyle is an attitude and a way in which an individual stays in society. The buying behavior is highly influenced by the lifestyle of a consumer. For example, when a consumer leads a healthy lifestyle, then the products he buys will relate to healthy alternatives to junk food. 5. Economic factors. The consumer buying habits and decisions greatly depend on the economic situation of a country or a market. When a nation is prosperous, the economy is strong, which leads to the greater money supply in the market and higher purchasing power for consumers. When consumers experience a positive economic environment, they are more confident to spend on buying products. Whereas a weak economy reflects a struggling market that is impacted by unemployment and lower purchasing power. Economic factors bear a significant influence on the buying decision of a consumer. Some of the important economic factors are personal income. When a person has a higher disposable income, the purchasing power increases simultaneously. Disposable income refers to the money that is left after spending towards the basic needs of a person. When there is an increase in disposable income, it leads to higher expenditure on various items. But when the disposable income reduces, parallelly the spending on multiple items also reduces. Family income. Family income is the total income from all the members of a family. When more people are earning in the family, there is more income available for shopping basic needs and luxuries. Higher family income influences the people in the family to buy more. When there is a surplus income available for the family, the tendency is to buy more luxury items which otherwise a person might not have been able to buy. Consumer credit. Consumer credit availability is a key factor in deciding the purchase decisions. It is easy money and satisfies customers' needs instantly. Lot of consumer credit options are available through various banks across the country. Liquid assets. Consumers who have liquid assets tend to spend more on comfort and luxuries. Liquid assets are those assets which can be converted into cash very easily. Cash in hand, bank savings and securities are some examples of liquid assets. When a consumer has higher liquid assets, it gives him more confidence to buy luxury goods. Her tendency to buy increases. Savings. More the savings, the more the buying of planned products. Consumers feel stronger with savings. India is a saving country, hence customers with more savings would tend to spend more as the need arises or through planned and impulse actions. Activity 2. Make a visit to 2 malls, supermarkets in your location and observe the nature of consumers buying products. Then prepare a chart of the shoppers 1 consumers as per class and other segmentation factors discussed above. Type of customers SECA. B and C type. 2.5 stages of consumer decision. Making process. The consumer decision-making process. Imagine having to buy yourself a new cell phone. The first step in this process is of course to recognize that I need a new cell phone. Though you may have an idea of which phone you would like to purchase, you probably want to do some research in order to narrow down a few alternatives. You go online to websites to investigate manufacturers, resellers, and independent consumer organizations. You ask friends and colleagues for advice and referrals, and you visit a few retail stores to check yourself. You compare your options and finally decide to purchase what seems to be the best alternative, based on different criteria such as design, features, price, and trustworthiness of the supplier. Once you have the phone in your possession, you assess whether it lives up to your expectations. You might find that the phone is able to deliver what the manufacturer has promised, but the user interface seems to mismatch. And therefore you decide not to buy this brand in future. The decision-making process can be described in 5 different stages. Problem recognition, understanding of need or requirements. Search processes, online and offline searches of various brands etc. Evaluating alternatives. Discounts, customer reviews. On price, packaging, features, benefits. Selection stage, comparing on the alternative options. Evaluation of decision-making, zero down the final decision and make purchases. Depending on the consequences of making a wrong decision, the complexity of this process can range from careful analysis to pure impulse. While an impulse buy, such as buying a packet of chewing gum, can take place instantaneously, complex purchases mostly stretch over a long period of time. This buying process is an iterative process, where people collect information from different sources and repeatedly return to re-evaluate and compare the information they have found. By understanding customer needs and concerns as they progress through the decision-making process, marketers can build a better and more successful retail marketing mix. In the retail context, a marketer is concerned about shopping decisions such as 1. what, how and from whom the consumer purchases and they. Frequency of purchase. Post-purchase behavior may take the form of cognitive dissonance. Activity 3. You have been assigned the task of buying a television set for your home. Keeping in mind each one's interest, how will you go about with the 5 buying process? 2.6. Types of consumer decision-making process. The web, as you will agree, has turned out to be a great tool for information research, and studies show that the internet is becoming the primary means by which people get key information to grow their knowledge base. People expect to be able to find information about products they are considering buying, even if a company doesn't sell its products online. Considering people's high expectations about the information and services available online, it's disturbing to see just how bad e-commerce websites are at selling. Lot of wrong information etc. Researchers have discovered that the online buying process acts as a sieve, where customers are inadvertently filtered out at each stage of their decision-making process. Studies show that out of 100 purchase-ready customers completely intended on a product, only 34 buy and will accomplish their goals. E-commerce sites simply fail in supporting the consumer decision-making process by not taking their customers' information needs into account at the information search stage. 9% wasn't able to find the products they were looking for because they couldn't identify the right product category or find product options using the search facility. 8% of the shoppers who succeeded in finding products gave up because the product lists didn't provide enough product information to identify purchase options, or because they were confused by going back and forth between product lists and product description pages in order to decide if the products would fit their basic needs. Researchers found that the major problems occur when customers want to evaluate their product alternatives. Only 25% of the shoppers who reached this stage proceeded to the next. Some stopped because they realized that none of the products would fit their needs, but most because the product information was so inadequate that they couldn't tell if the products they were interested in satisfied their needs. At the purchase stage, 13% dropped out because they didn't want to go through the required registration process or because they were disappointed by poor shipping charge policies. A surprisingly high number of problems appear in the purchase evaluation stage. 11% of the shoppers are either so unhappy with the product that they return it, or didn't receive the product at all, or got the wrong product. Some of the shoppers returned a product because it wasn't what they expected, which suggests a failure in setting up the right expectations in the product evaluation stage. Currently, from 2020 onwards, post-pandemic and during pandemic, the dependency on e-commerce companies selling products have gone up, and customers also nowadays select the product with ease as they have understood the process flow well. The power of return with no question asked is a powerful tool to increase the buying decisions. Knowing the customer's decision-making process. The most interesting thing about consumer decision process is that while critical usability problems do exist in the design of the commerce site, such as users not being able to find products and bad design of checkouts, the majority of dropouts happened because of inadequate product information. Customers couldn't identify purchase options from the products list. Customers couldn't decide if the products would satisfy their needs. The product presentations and descriptions raised wrong expectations, which made customers return their purchases. E-commerce sites simply fail in supporting the consumer decision-making process by not taking their customers' information needs into account. Designers of commerce websites have little chance of knowing exactly which information needs customers have when evaluating specific products. To support the customer's decision-making process, they have to do research in order to learn which needs and concerns they have when making a purchase decision. Research of customer needs can be done in several ways. An effective and economical method is to collect information during a workshop with salespeople who are in contact with customers on a daily information. With a more extensive budget, interviews with customer in order to validate the generated profiles and scenarios. No matter how we are about the customers in order to support their decision-making process. Information search online. The basic prerequisites for customers to make their way through the information search stage are that they are able to find products and that they can easily identify purchase options from the product list pages. Thus, in order to support the customer decision-making process at this stage, we need to know which keywords will customers use when browsing and searching for purchase options? What basic information do customers need in order to identify purchase options? What educational information do they need in order to decide which product criteria are important to them? Evaluation of alternatives. The problem at times with the consumer decision-making process is that there's no one to ask if you have a question. We see how a large number of customers drop out at this stage simply because the product information was so inadequate that they couldn't decide whether the products they were interested in would fit their needs. A commerce site for online decision-making process should act as a skilled offline salesperson and have answers ready to any question or concern that the customer might have. Some of the critical questions that we need answer to are: what detailed product information does the customers need when evaluating product alternatives? Which product evaluation criteria will customers use and which are most important to the customers? Which concerns will the customers have about the products and how can we address them proactively? How can we encourage customers to contact the sales and support department if they have further questions? Purchase decision. At this stage, emphasis should be on providing the easiest possible way for the customers to carry their orders through. If the products are sold online, we should remove obstacles such as poor registration, exorbitant shipping charges if any. If products are not sold online, customers would want an easy way to find out where and how to buy, or an easy way to contact the sales department. Purchase evaluation. Purchase evaluation stage is the outcome of the post-purchase evaluation stage as a level of customer satisfaction or dissatisfaction, which is determined by the customer's overall feelings about the product and buying experience. Besides not receiving the product at all or getting the wrong one, many customers returned their purchases because the products didn't live up to their expectations. This problem is a consequence of not encouraging accurate customer expectations at the product evaluation stage. In order to avoid this, we have to make sure that the content presenting the product sets up the right expectations. Designing for customer decision molding. Once we feel confident about customers' needs and concerns, our next challenge is to decide how to present the information to the customers in a way that supports the decision-making process. Some products will benefit from comparison charts, some from interactive product demos, some need lots of detailed product images. Role of services in retailing. Though shopping over the phone and through the internet have increased rapidly in the past few years for services like air ticketing, birthday gifts etc., the majority of Indian consumers still prefer to visit stores to shop. The location of the store is also important in the consumer decision process in the retail domain. Since consumers are attracted to a particular store, retailers need to track amenities of parking, extended hours of operations, special play areas for children, washrooms, trial rooms, mama's room etc. Besides, efficient customer service is required to make the customer feel comfortable and important. Example, food world. Modified buying, rebuy. This refers to those transactions where buyers want to modify product specifications, prices, terms, or suppliers. It usually involves more time and information. For example, if a particular store does not have the product a consumer wants, she may seek advice from the retailer concerned. In case he does not give credence to the retailer's advice, he may start to search information online or other sources to shortlist his purchase decision. New product purchase. This refers to those transactions where a consumer purchases a product or considers visiting a retail store for the first time and therefore requires extensive information to evaluate the decision-making process. Further, on the basis of the effort required for purchase or the level of involvement, one can categorize the nature of consumer decision-making into the following 4 levels. Extensive decision-making, problem-solving, routine response, limited decision-making, and impulse buying. These 4 levels are strongly correlated to the kind of product that is purchased. Extensive decision-making I complex high involvement. This usually happens for unfamiliar, expensive and infrequently bought products. Examples include purchase decisions for cars, homes, computers and education. For such transactions, an individual has to spend a lot of time seeking information. The information sources one uses for such purchases are mass media, friends and relatives, store personnel etc. For such decisions, consumers go through all stages of the buying process. Limited decision making. This happens when an individual purchases a product occasionally and is required to look for a different brand or retailer for a product one is used to because of non-availability or non-performance. Example, clothes, utensils, crockery, essentially where the consumer is aware of the product class and not the brand. Routine response, programmed behavior. This is observed in case of low involvement, frequently purchased and generally low cost products. They require little search and decision efforts and are purchased automatically. Example, buying grocery items from a particular retailer. Impulse behavior. This relates to those purchases that do not involve any conscious planning. Examples are soft drinks which occur due to sighting of the advertisement or the product at the outlet. A particular product does not confine itself to one category of decision-making behavior. Product can shift from one category to the next. For example, selecting a restaurant for dining out for someone not used to it may involve extensive decision-making, but on the contrary, it would be a limited decision-making for someone used to frequent dining out. Therefore, most of the eating joints locate their outlets at all possible destination shopping centers. Activity 4. Make a visit to the nearest departmental supermarket and list down all the major categories, for e.g. snacks, home care products. Then categorize which of the products will involve the respective kind of behaviors discussed above. Consumer decision rules. Consumer decision rules, as you need to understand, are basically guidelines for any retailer to help tune his service product proposition. They are classified into two categories, namely compensatory and non-compensatory. Compensatory decision rule. On the basis of compensatory decision rule, a shopper evaluates score or brand after scores in a considered set. Non-compensatory decision rule. This rule does not allow consumers to balance positive assessment of stores on one dimension against a negative evaluation on other dimensions. Taking the previous example, in case of restaurant selection, negative rating on atmosphere, Haldiram, would not be offset by the positive assessment of its merchandise mix, cuisines. That is to say that a consumer's choice of restaurant, if preset on a variety of cuisines, would have dropped McDonald's out of the reckoning in this form of decision process. 2.7. Influence of situational variables on shopping behavior. Situational variables, as needed to understand, refer to all those factors particular to a time frame and place of observation which do not follow from a knowledge of personal, intra-individual, and stimulus, choice, alternative attributes. Such attributes range from store location and layout to time of day and the presence, or absence, or others. These can be classified into three distinct dimensions of situational influence. 1. Physical setting. 2. Social setting. 3. Temporal setting. Physical setting. The physical setting covers geographical location of the retail outlet but can also mean the environment in which the consumer resides to access the shopping center. There are far shoppers, i.e. those who travel for more than half hour to reach the destination shopping point, and near shoppers, who take less time to travel there. At the same time, there are late shoppers who shop in the late hours of the day and early shoppers who take the morning ride to the retail outlet. Social setting. The social setting describes the presence or absence, together with their social roles, role attributes and opportunities of interaction. The shoppers who are accompanied by others are referred to as social shoppers, and those who shop alone are designated as solitary shoppers. Temporal aspects. This refers to the constraints such as time available for shopping and factors such as seasonal variables, which is particularly visible in the context of both fashion shopping and perishable purchases such as milk purchased normally at daytime and fashion apparel at the later part of the day. 2.8. Consumer images of retail stores. A consumer's image of a store is the summation of his attitude towards various aspects of the store. Every retail store has an individuality that differentiates it from its competitors. A retailer must devise strategies to communicate its individuality across its target segment of consumers to build confidence in its merchandise and services. It is argued that where there is some degree of congruency of individual's self-image of a store or brand, there is a strong possibility replicated is the service level and individual experiences. Therefore, the service level in a store is what determines the consumer image of retail stores.